Welcome to Chapter 3, Sections 3 and 4 podcast for our quiz coming up. We're going to begin here, so take a look at your study guide, grab your pen. We're going to start in the box entitled Modeling Molecules. First, what holds atoms together in a molecule? And that's going to be those chemical bonds. We modeled those in the lab with our springs. What makes up all basic particles? So all basic particles, what makes them up? Those are going to be the atoms. Again, we took a look at that as we combined atoms. We were able to make different molecules. What is the smallest particle of an element? Again, that's the atom. So a couple different questions here, trying to test your understanding of an atom. Next up, atoms held together by chemical bonds are called, if you remember when we completed the puzzle, so to say, in the lab, we ended up with a molecule of water, for example. What is a chemical formula used for? And it's to identify what atoms or elements a molecule is made up of. And remember, if there's no number there, that's actually a 1. So if it's 2 or more, it's going to show up. So in this case, how many carbon? 1 would be the correct answer. 2 oxygen. How many hydrogen? 2. How many oxygen? And the correct answer would be 1. What makes up all elements? And we've got a theme here, ladies and gentlemen. Atoms make up all elements. What is each part of this molecule called? So we have our picture here, okay? We have a couple of circles, and we have some lines. The line that's holding the circles together, of course, is a chemical bond, and those circles are atoms. So make sure you label, should be on the back of your study guide, label, because that's one of the things you're going to need to be able to do on the quiz. All right, we're moving into aspects that work with CSI Huntertown. How do you find the volume of an irregular object? Well, we've done this quite a bit. And remember, it says 2/3, but a lot of times we'll put in 50 milliliters of water, record that beginning volume, place the object in the water, record the ending volume, and subtract the beginning from the ending. Should have been pretty much what you put in your procedures for this investigation. What tool do we use to measure the volume of a liquid? It's going to be a graduated cylinder. A volume of 1 milliliter is equal to a volume of 1, and that's going to be a centimeter cubed. If you remember during this investigation, we switched that over. What is the formula for density? Mr. Cora and I took a look at last year's quiz. So current 7th graders took a look at them, and the number one most missed question on this quiz a year ago for those kids was this. And we've done density here quite a bit. Mass divided by volume. Get that in your head. M over V. So you're going to take the mass divided by the volume. Remember, you're going to need the correct unit. So it's either grams per milliliter or grams per centimeter cubed. All right, switching to mystery powder. And we're going to list examples of exothermic changes here. And exothermic means the energy is exiting, if you think of the EX for exothermic, and exit, remember those two go together. Some examples are going to be burning wood, explosions, car engine running, light bulbs. So copy some of those down, make sure you're able to recognize when heat is given off. And these are all examples here. Exothermic means the energy, thermal energy, is exiting the object or reaction. Physical properties, we've gone through these a couple of times. Does a substance change after a physical change? And the answer, of course, is no. So if we have ice, some of which is melting, so it's changing into a liquid, and some of this is actually heading right off into a gas. Does it change? Nope, it's still water. So the solid that you see here is water, the liquid that you see here is water, and even the gas that you can't see is also still H2O. Does a substance change after a chemical change? Yes, it sure does. A new substance is formed. Examples would be wood burning. You can see the black there. Pretty obvious it's still not wood. Metal tarnishing. See an example here with a spoon. Some questions to look at in your textbook. Remember, those are not mandatory, but they're just good practice. And some good tips here. Study early and often. Fill out your study guide. Check it with Mr. Cora or I. Look at what investigations you did during that section. Review the words in your glossary. Do those practice questions on the previous slide. Go to My Big Campus, ask questions. Again, when we're dealing with a study guide, there's really no cheating on a study guide. So if you're stuck on something, you can post a question on My Big Campus, check with a friend in Charger Time, and then of course study with a parent or friend. Don't just study by yourself the whole time. You need to study with somebody else. Best of luck.